Okay, wow. This is heavy stuff.
Yeah.
We're diving deep into apartheid in South Africa, you know, the legacy of it all.
Right.
And focusing on District 6 in Cape Town.
Yeah.
You found this YouTube video. I mean, it's an interview
Right.
with Mr. MUHAMMAD HUSSEIN.
Yes.
And he's a resident there and an anti-apartheid veteran.
Yeah, his story is powerful.
Yeah, really powerful. So what's interesting is it doesn't feel like some, you know, big budget documentary or anything.
No, not at all.
It's raw.
Yeah, it's like a window right into his life.
Yeah.
Someone who actually lived through this, you know.
Yeah.
And still lives with the consequences today.
Yeah, and the fact that it was filmed right in his home, too. It's
Yeah.
like, we're right there with him.
Exactly.
And that makes it hit so much harder. You know, it's not just some historical thing.
No.
It's real people, real lives.
Absolutely. So, before we get too far into his story, I think it's important to understand District 6.
Yeah.
Like, what it was before apartheid. You know, before they forced people out. It was this amazing mix of cultures.
Really?
Oh yeah, all kinds of ethnicities, religions, you name it.
Wow.
Real melting pot. Imagine everyone living side by side.
Wow.
Different traditions, languages, just this incredible tapestry of experiences.
It sounds amazing.
It was. And then, you know, the apartheid government stepped in with the Group Areas Act. Yeah, it was all about segregating everyone by race.
Yeah. I mean, we all know about apartheid, but...
Right. But to really get it, you have to understand how they actually did it.
Okay.
They literally categorized people by race
Oh, wow.
and assigned everyone specific areas to live.
Jeez.
And if you didn't belong in that area,
Yeah.
gone, forced out.
So it wasn't just prejudice, it was the law.
Exactly. It was a system.
Part of a system of oppression.
Yeah, exactly. And District 6, well, with all its diversity.
Yeah, it was a target.
It was a prime target. The forced removals just tore the community apart. Families uprooted.
Wow.
Connections broken. It's heartbreaking.
And this brings us back to Mr. Hussein. At 79, he's lived through it all.
He has.
And there's this moment where he says, it's important to study the past so that you can understand the future.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
It really made me think about the importance of, you know, hearing these firsthand accounts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, textbooks can only tell you so much, right?
Right.
But when you hear it straight from someone who was there,
Yeah.
it's raw, it's unfiltered. You connect with it on a whole other level.
Absolutely. And then he talks about the changes since apartheid and acknowledges progress. But then he's quick to point out the suffering, the inequality.
Yeah, he's not sugarcoating anything.
And then he asks this question, are we really free?
Wow. Yeah. It makes you think.
It does. It really makes you think about what true freedom actually means.
Yeah. You know, it's easy to think that once a system like that is gone,
Yeah.
that's it. Everyone's free.
Right.
But his experience tells a different story.
Yeah, definitely. It's so much more complicated.
Way more complex.
And there's another thing that struck me. How much he talks about Allah, his faith.
Right.
Do you see that a lot? You know, religion being part of these stories.
All the time. I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
When things are tough, people turn to faith for comfort, for strength.
Right.
And in his case, I wonder how much his beliefs shaped his resistance. You know, his ideas about justice, forgiveness.
Yeah, that's a great point. And speaking of complicated things,
Yeah.
he talks about tourism, District 6 being this tourist attraction now.
Right.
And he uses the word Zionist.
Yeah.
It feels like a very specific viewpoint.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And it speaks to this tension with tourism.
Yeah.
On one hand, you want to remember what happened.
Right.
And tourism can help with that, preserving the memory.
Yeah, okay.
But then there's the flip side.
Uh-oh.
Like, are you just profiting off suffering? Turning it into a spectacle?
Right, yeah, I see what you mean.
And the Zionist comment adds a whole other layer.
Yeah, it's loaded.
Historically, the term is tied to land ownership, power.
Right.
And to understand where he's coming from,
Yeah,
we have to look at the connection between Israel and apartheid South Africa.
okay.
They cooperated for a while, those two regimes. And that's fueled this idea of Zionist influence in South Africa.
Even if some people disagree with that idea.
Exactly.
So even though apartheid ended decades ago,
Yeah.
the effects are still so real
Oh, yeah.
in the physical landscape, but also,
And in people's minds.
yeah, like Mr. Hussein.
Exactly.
And he's not the only one.
No, not at all.
This is just one story. It
Yeah.
shows us this fight for true equality isn't over.
It's far from over.
But before we move on, I want to talk about one more thing.
Okay.
Mr. Hussein says something about telling people not to vote.
Wow.
He sounds so disillusioned with the whole system.
Yeah, that's a powerful statement.
It is, isn't it? Like, at first, I thought maybe he's just giving up, you know?
Right.
Letting apathy win. But the more I hear him talk,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's deeper than that.
Like what?
Like, maybe he feels the system is just rigged against him and people like him.
Mm-hmm.
So voting just feels pointless.
Yeah, like what's the point?
Exactly.
That's a really good point. You know, it makes you think about what political participation even means.
Yeah.
Especially for people who feel marginalized, unheard.
Right.
Like, even though apartheid is over, the promise of equality
Yeah.
hasn't really come true for a lot of people.
Right.
And that leads to disillusionment.
Yeah.
This feeling that their vote doesn't matter.
It makes me wonder what the alternative is then.
Right.
Like, if voting doesn't feel like an option,
Yep.
what else can you do?
That's a big question.
Yeah, it is.
But before we go down that rabbit hole, let's shift gears for a second.
Okay.
Mr. Hussein mentions this pressure on residents to sell their properties,
Oh, yeah.
even though it might look like they're doing it willingly. Makes you wonder what's really going on, doesn't it?
For sure.
And this ties into gentrification, something happening everywhere.
Oh, yeah, gentrification.
Yeah, these areas that used to be undesirable suddenly become trendy.
Right.
Property values skyrocket,
Uh.
and the people who've lived there forever
Yeah.
get pushed out.
It's sad.
It is, and it's another example of how apartheid's legacy lingers.
Yeah. Especially in the way cities are laid out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what's so powerful about Mr. Hussein's story.
Yeah.
It's not just about abstract ideas like freedom and justice.
Right.
It's about this very real fight to belong, to have a place to call home.
In a city that's changing all around him.
Exactly. Yeah. And it raises a crucial question for all of us. Are we truly free if we're always at risk of being uprooted?
If we can lose those places that give us a sense of identity, of connection.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a question that goes way beyond District 6.
Right.
It's something we need to think about everywhere.
As cities change and grow.
As we grapple with social justice and the meaning of home in a world that never stops moving.
Yeah. Mr. Hussein's story really makes you think.
It does. It forces us to confront these tough questions head on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's heartbreaking, you know?
It is.
To think that even after apartheid ended this fight for belonging and equality, it's still going on.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we need to hear stories like Mr. Hussein.
Right.
You know, remember, this video is just one piece.
Yeah.
It's part of a bigger project.
Right. From Wake UCP and the Hood Productions.
Exactly. And they're doing important work, you know, preserving these stories.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, hey, don't just rely on history books.
Right. Come listen to the people who were there.
Yeah, who actually lived through it.
And, you know, history as we learn it,
Yeah.
it often reflects the perspective of those in power, right?
Right.
But platforms like this YouTube channel,
Yeah.
they give a voice to the marginalized.
Right. The people whose stories weren't told.
Yeah, the ones they tried to erase.
It's like history is never neutral.
No, it's shaped by who's telling it.
Yeah, by their experiences.
Exactly, and that's why it's so important to hear different viewpoints.
Yeah, even the ones that make us uncomfortable.
The ones that challenge our assumptions.
Definitely. And Mr. Hussein, I mean, he's not holding back.
No, he's not.
He's angry. He's frustrated.
You can hear it in his voice.
Absolutely.
But under all that pain,
Yeah.
there's this love for his community.
Yeah.
This longing for the District 6 he remembers.
What really hit me was how he's not just talking about politics. It's more than that.
It's personal.
It's about home, belonging, the things that make life worth living.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so relatable, you know?
Yeah.
It reminds us that these aren't just abstract concepts.
Yeah.
These are people's lives, their hopes, their dreams.
And sometimes they're shattered dreams.
Yeah.
I mean, these forced removals,
Right.
it wasn't just about bricks and mortar.
Oh.
It was about tearing apart a community,
Ripping people from their homes.
breaking connections,
And those
effects, they last for generations.
Yeah, you're right. We can't just gloss over that.
No.
We have to listen to these stories with empathy, with understanding.
Because those wounds from the past, they don't just disappear.
No, they can fester if we don't address them.
And that's where reconciliation comes in.
Right. And healing,
Truth and justice.
it's a long process.
It is.
But just the fact that Mr. Hussein is willing to share his story,
Yeah.
his pain, his hopes,
Yeah.
it shows how resilient the human spirit is.
It does. This yearning for a better future.
A future where we can finally say,
Yeah.
are we really free?
And the answer is yes.
Yes.
But until then, we have to keep listening.
Keep learning.
Keep fighting for a world where everyone can experience true freedom.
True justice.
Really.
Exactly. And you know what struck me?
Yeah.
The interviewer in the video, he talks about feeling like a hostage to the past.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I bet a lot of people feel that way.
Not just in South Africa, but everywhere.
It's like these injustices from the past, they have this power.
Yeah. They can hold you back.
Limit opportunity.
Perpetuate these cycles of inequality.
And that's why it's so important to challenge those systems.
Yeah, to dismantle them.
To break free from those chains.
Whether it's through political action.
Or social movements.
Even just raising awareness.
We all have a part to play.
In creating a more just world.
A more equitable world.
And it starts with listening.
To those voices that are often silenced.
Like Mr. Hussein.
Exactly.
And that's what I love about platforms like this YouTube channel.
Me too.
Giving those voices a space to be heard.
It reminds us that the fight for freedom and justice,
yeah,
it's not over.
And each generation has to pick up the torch and carry it forward.
I wonder, though.
Yeah.
What do you think Mr. Hussein would say to people who feel overwhelmed by all this? The ones who feel like their actions don't matter.
I think he'd point to his own life.
Yeah.
His unwavering commitment to justice.
Even when it felt impossible?
Yeah, even when facing huge challenges.
He's a living example that one person's voice can spark change.
That small acts of resistance can ripple outward.
Inspiring others to join the fight?
It's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Exactly.
There will be setbacks. There will be times you feel like giving up.
But you can't.
You have to keep believing that a better world is possible.
Yeah, and I think Mr. Hussein would say, draw strength from your community, from the people who came before you, the ones fighting alongside you right now.
It's like you're not alone in this.
No, you're not. You're part of something bigger.
I'll be honest, his story has really stayed with me.
I know what you mean.
It's given me this sense of urgency, you know, like I need to do more.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a small thing.
That's the thing about these deep dives.
Yeah.
They're not just about learning stuff, you know?
Right.
They make you think. They make you want to act.
Make you feel connected to something bigger.
Yeah. Like that's it. We are all connected.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Hussein's story, it feels so unique, but also so universal.
It is, isn't it?
Like these themes he talks about, the struggle for belonging.
The fight against injustice.
This feeling that you're not really free, even when you're told you are.
It resonates everywhere.
Yeah, not just in history books.
These things are happening right now.
All over the world.
Think about gentrification.
Right.
It's happening in every major city.
Yeah, pushing out the most vulnerable communities.
Like what happened in District 6?
It's like, are we really making progress?
If the same patterns keep repeating themselves.
Yeah, it's a question we all have to ask ourselves.
And we have to be willing to challenge the status quo, you know?
Right, it's not enough to just say, oh yeah, that was bad.
No, we have to actually do something.
Change the systems that are causing these problems.
And that starts with listening.
To people like Mr. Hussein.
Yeah, understanding what they've been through.
Their stories hold the key.
To finding real solutions.
To creating a better future.
A future that's actually equitable and just.
You know that comment about not voting?
Yeah.
It really stuck with me.
Yeah, me too.
I think it speaks volumes.
About feeling powerless.
Yeah, like the system doesn't care.
Like your voice doesn't matter.
And when people feel like that, it's no wonder they lose faith in democracy.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that democracy is more than just voting.
It's about making sure everyone's voice is heard.
About holding those in power accountable.
About meeting the needs of the most vulnerable.
And creating spaces for dialogue.
Yeah, where people feel like they have a real say in their own future.
Empowering communities to take charge.
To build the world they want to see.
Mr. Hussein's story is a perfect example.
Of the power of community.
People coming together, supporting each other.
Sharing their stories, fighting for a common goal.
It shows us that even in the face of incredible challenges,
the human spirit can find a way.
To resist, to persevere.
To create hope and resilience.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If Mr. Hussein could ask you one question right now, based on what you've learned from his story, what would it be?
Wow. I think he would ask.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with this? How are you going to use what you've heard to make a difference?
And that's the question we all need to ask ourselves.
Yeah, as we wrap up this deep dive.
It's not enough to just listen.
We have to act, we have to engage.
Use our voices, our resources, our privilege.
To build a world that's more just.
More equitable.
More free for everyone.
Mr. Hussein's story is a powerful reminder.
That these issues affect real people.
And that we all have a role to play.
In creating a better future.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.